Have you ever thought about buying real estate or buying more real estate? And why not? Millionaires across the world have their money stashed in real estate. From Trump to Kiyosaki to Gates and so many people that we follow on social media who own and make millions in real estate. And I thought, hey, I want to get me some of that real estate exposure. And in the last few years, I did. And I loved real estate. And today I'm going to share with you 10 reasons why I think real estate is an incredible investment that everyone should have. But don't just trust any random bloke on YouTube, because for each of these reasons I'm going to share with you, I can give you a counter argument as to why real estate is not a good option for you. So the idea is just to get you to start thinking and learn a little bit more about real estate. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Karthik, your financial wingman, and today we're going to break down why I think real estate is the most incredible investment. Now I'm going to be talking about real estate as an investment, as an asset, and not as a liability, which it will be if you buy one house your entire life and live in it. So if you're ready, let's go. All right, number one on the list is positive cash flow. Now cash is king. Actually, cash flow is king. Scratch that. Positive cash flow is king. And that's what you get when you buy an investment property. Even today in Dubai, it's so easy to find a property that will net you a 7% return on investment any day of the week. So whether you've made your investment through cash or through a mortgage, every month you hear a in your account. Now, number two on the list is capital appreciation. Now, real estate is a real asset and property prices tend to keep up with inflation. We have a 2 to 4% inflation generally over a long period of time. So if you plan to hold your real estate for a long period of time, you will see that growth in your value of your property. That leads me to point number three, which is real estate acts as an inflation hedge. We've recently seen inflation go as high as 9%, which means that the value of your money is depreciating every single day. From fuel and cars to food and rent, everything costs more than it did last year. So your $100 this year isn't worth as much as it was last year. And owning real estate can help you protect your wealth. Real estate prices have soared more than inflation has in the last couple of years. All right, number four is leverage. Now, banks will never lend you money, let's say if you wanted to buy stock of Apple. But if you wanted to buy property, they will lend you 85%. They're not willing to take a risk on Apple, but they're willing to take a risk on you. What? That's because Apple has a possibility to go to zero. Your property is a real asset. Even if you don't pay, they know they can go and sell that property and recover their money. So you can control $1 million property with just 200,000 of your own money, which means exponential returns. But before you rush to a bank to get a mortgage, please make sure you educate yourself. Make sure you understand interest rates. Make sure you understand macroeconomic trends. Make sure you understand terms and conditions of the mortgage. I know so many people who've taken mortgages but never read the terms and conditions and have got stuck with very, very bad deals. And if you have any questions, leave them on the comments below and we'll try and figure them out together. Number five is forced savings. Now, let's say you buy a house and live in it, which isn't a great idea, by the way. If you want to build wealth, buy a house that you can rent out for 100,000 and then go live in a place that costs you 80,000. That's how you build wealth. For full disclosure, we live in a one bed that my wife owns and we're going to move into a two bed, which is much bigger. But the rent that we're going to pay on that is going to be much less than the rent we receive from our rental properties. But let's say you buy a house and live in it. There's a good chance you're going to have to take a mortgage on it. Now you're forced to pay this mortgage. Yes, 50% of that mortgage is going towards interest, but the remaining 50% is a forced saving. It goes into your house and keeps building your equity over time. Every month, come hail, come storm, you are forced to make this payment to keep a roof over your head. Now, if you want flexibility and you want to move countries or you're constantly thinking about starting your own business, then stay away from this plan. But if you're like most people and plan to stay put for the foreseeable future, then buying a house is like forcing yourself to build an asset. And the best part is mentally, we don't account for this as savings. We account for this as living costs. We still have to put aside 20% towards our savings and investments. And if you're not financially ready to get into real estate just yet, then check out SmartCrowd in the link below. It's a crowdfunding real estate platform right here in Dubai. An easy way to start building and getting some real estate exposure and earning some monthly returns. I just got into their latest JVC project. I think it's fully funded, but check out the link in the description below and get $250 off your next property. Now, the next one is tax breaks. Now, depending on which country you live in, home ownership has a lot of tax advantages. The interest that you pay on your home is tax deductible in a lot of countries. We have no taxes here in Dubai. I don't know for how long that's going to last, but depending on which country you're in, owning a home could be extremely tax advantageous. Governments across the world love real estate. They want people to own more real estate, and hence they subsidize your interest and give you tax advantages. Now, this is not tax advice of any kind. We have no taxes here in Dubai, so I'm perhaps the last person that you should be listening to about tax, but there are advantages of owning properties. Get in touch with a professional in your town and do your own due diligence. Now, number 7 is someone else pays your mortgage. Now, when you buy a property, get a mortgage and put a tenant in there, you've built an asset. From that moment on, your tenant pays everything. They pay the EMI, they pay the cost, they pay the service, maintenance, bills, property management. If you're doing Airbnb, they pay everything. I'll stick my neck out and say that 95% of properties in Dubai will be ROI positive. That means that the minute you put a tenant in the property and start collecting rent, that rent will cover all your expenses and you will be left with 5 to 7% net return. So let's say, for example, you buy a million dirham property and you need, let's say, 20% down. I like to add 5% for other closing costs and miscellaneous expenses. So let's say 250,000 is what you need. You could easily rent that property out today for about 75 to 80,000 dirhams. Pull out 10,000 for your service and maintenance and 50,000 for your EMI. You're still left with 20,000 dirhams. That's 20,000 dirhams of positive cash flow every single year. There could be fluctuations, rents could go down, interest rates could go up, but you still have a 20,000 buffer to take care of any of those movements. Now, number 8 on the list is equity. I love this one. Now, let's go back to the million dirham house we just bought. 800,000 was given to us by the bank and 200,000 is our own equity in this property. Now, let's say your EMI is 50,000 a year. Now, half of this goes towards interest and the other half goes towards your equity. So your equity keeps building up over time. And as time goes by, the percentage of this EMI that goes towards equity keeps increasing. So in about 10 years from now, 65 to 70% of this EMI will go towards your home equity. And let's say with inflation of between 2 to 4%, every year your property price will increase. And in 10 years time, you will have around 700,000 dirhams of equity in your property. And what do you do with this 700,000 equity? That brings me to point number 9. Refinance. Now, once you've built up a certain level of equity in your property, what you could do is go back to the banks and they will allow you to access about 400,000 of this equity. You take this money and put a down payment on another property. That's how you can multiply the number of properties that you have. And you could do this every 2 or 3 years, depending on how the markets behave. Now, I'm not telling you to go out there and start doing this because interest rates are extremely high today, but it's good to be aware of what the possibilities are. The people who you see and follow on social media who have built huge real estate portfolios, this is possibly one of the ways they did it. And while you're waiting for interest rates to come down so that you can buy your next property, why not subscribe to the channel for more awesome content on how to build your wealth? Now, number 10 on the list is that real estate is a chunky investment. And what I mean by this is that most times people will put a small portion of their money in, let's say, Apple or Google or Amazon or any other investment. But when it comes to buying real estate, we have to put in a significant portion of money. And often I've noticed that whenever I buy a stock and it goes up, I've put a very small amount of money in it. But when you do buy real estate, and I'm not saying that real estate goes up all the time, but if you buy real estate and the prices go up, that's where you build some serious wealth. So the beauty about real estate is that it is a chunky investment. Now, this could also go completely wrong, but that's for another day. I need to quickly make a video on why real estate is not a good option. Otherwise, these comments are going to go crazy. Real estate is expensive, but liking the video is free. Like. Shit, I forgot to do diversification. Diversification is important, no, for real estate. So much more content for future videos. Good fun. Maybe we should buy one property every year. You have money? How long do you think it will take us to be financially free from real estate? 5, 10. I'm sure they've already liked the video. Yeah. No? Like it now, it's okay. Like it.